Afternoon, VC Harris here with just slipping one in before the end of the year, so to speak. Hope you're all well. It's been about 5 weeks. I've been using those 5 weeks to try and think how can I send this channel into the stratosphere. I've been viewing vinyl community trends. I tried the YouTube Shorts video. Didn't work out too well for me. Well, they're not even mine actually. Then I thought monthly subscription. That's all the go, innit? You can, but I don't have the wherewithal. I'm a little bit IT illiterate. I don't really know how to get the money to me. And if anyone does want to send me a check or maybe even a postal order, that'll be good. But I do like the idea of a monthly subscription. Did anyone have grandparents that used to pay for their televisions on a monthly rental? I love the idea that my grandparents used to rent their TVs, and my gran is still renting hers. She died 12 years ago. She's still paying, I think, Tandy £15 a month. It's money for old rope, isn't it? It's a piece of piss. But yeah, I noticed a lot of people are doing their best of 2022. I can't do that. There were 9 hours to go. There's still 4 Wang Chung 12-inch singles down the road. So, until I've secured those, I can't possibly think of doing my best of 2022. But I've got to say that some of the buys I bought in charity shop, for me, this has been a monster 5 weeks, really. First up, Oxfam Furniture, down the road, 100 yards from me. Furniture shop has a very small selection of vinyl, but once in a blue moon, and I've shown some belters from there before, some lovely ones dropped. There, Talking Heads, Remain in Light, really pleased to get this. Bought this first time in '89. Didn't really like it, I think because I had it on CD, and that was the era when CDs were very flat sounding, and I had probably a pretty rubbish CD player, to be honest. And this has got those sort of, what you call it, polyrhythmic rhythms. I mean, and you really, it sounds great on a digital system because it kind of separates the rhythms, and this is killer. Side one sort of sends you into a trance. Obviously, I've always known, Once in a Lifetime, because that was a huge top 10 hit in the UK, I assume the rest of the world. Even as a young man, a nipper, I used to love that track. And $14.99 I pay for this, but I'd say it's VG Plus. It's got a lyric sheet in it as well. I'm happy with that price. I'll take that. I mean, I see it between 13 to 25, really. So, brilliant. Really pleased to get this. Really pleased. And yeah, underrated this, maybe I did. I know it's not underrated, but maybe I underrated it. But Remain in Light, Talking Heads. Next up, this was a bit of a purchase buy with my Christmas money. Someone gave me £40. I paid £20 for this. Lost in Translation, Sofia Coppola's film. I love Lost in Translation, and you get Scarlett Johansson's arse on the cover, so that's always a good one. It was obviously, everyone was really anticipating this in 2003 because it had Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine. He put 2 tracks on it, which are okay. It's not a bad album. I used to love this when I had it on CD, but it's dawned on me that when I listened to it back in 2003, it was probably 4 a.m. and I was on some sort of dangerous drug at the time. So nowadays, I listen to it in the afternoon on nothing stronger than a cup of tea with 28 sugars and a packet of Dairy Lee Lunchables. It doesn't quite have the same effect. But actually, I listened to it again this morning and it's pretty decent. There's a lot of sort of ambient tracks. There's a great Square Pusher track on it, which sadly only goes on for 2 minutes. It sounds like Boards of Canada. And it's got Too Young by Phoenix, which is kind of a bit of an outlier in it. It's a bit of like a power pop anthem. But yeah, Lost in Translation, the soundtrack, £20. I'll take that, and it is decent, yeah. Next up, this was going to be my headline act. I've wanted this. Well, I had it on CD again, like 89.90, again a dreadful CD, and really I've wanted this. And this rocked up in Oxfam Romsey. I paid £30 for it. You never see it. If you do see it, it's shot to shit normally. James Brown live at the Apollo. I mean, it's one of those records. I mean, it was a game changer. It's one of the first big selling live albums, if not their first. Record companies didn't want to put out live albums up until '63 because they thought if people listened to live albums, they wouldn't go to live shows. James Brown then had to pay for this himself. He put this on at the Apollo Amateur Night. He paid £7,000 to do it himself. It's incredible. It's one of those albums that probably, when you listen to it, you're kind of disappointed in it because you're probably, in your head, you'll think it's going to be James Brown in funk mode. He's more in R&B mode, but it's best to just take this as a piece. It's 30 minutes long. One of the tracks, I Found Someone, goes on for 10 minutes. So the other 13 tracks only last about 18 minutes. So it's more like medleys of his tracks. But, oh man, the version of Night Train on it, the crowd are going berserk. The band are so drilled, it's ridiculous. It's a bit of a mystery copy, this. It's got King on it, but it doesn't have the crown above. It's got Star of Stars on it. Some copies don't have Star of Stars. And it's got adverts for other albums on the back. Some don't. There's combinations of all three of those, but there's no combination on Discogs of Star of Stars, adverts, and no picture of a crown. So it's definitely, I think, a 63 copy, but I can't work out which. But 30 quid, I'm happy to take it. It's on that indestructible 60s vinyl that you can't smash. It sounds, and when I say it sounds trebly, I mean in a good way. These would have been made for dance sets. It's so powerfully trebly, it's brilliant. I mean, it's just power. And it's just, oh, I'm so chuffed to get this. As you can see, it's a tiny bit knackered, but you never see copies of this. You never see copies of this in the world. Next up, pleased to get this, Record Fair. Rip It Up by Orange Juice. Obviously the song Rip It Up, which quotes Orange Juice's boredom in it, and also was the influence for Simon Reynolds' amazing book Rip It Up and Start Again, post-punk 78 to 94. This one is probably the worst of the Orange Juice albums, came out in 82, but it's the most expensive. I got it for a tenner at a record fair. It tends to go for 25, 30 plus. Why is that? I think it's because it opens with the incredible track Rip It Up and Start Again, the track that kind of invented indie dance, really. They used the 808 drum machine to squelchy effect. That's all. And it's the only way you can get that version, unless you get the 7-inch single, which is never that popular, because the 12-inch version of Rip It Up and Start Again is a guitar version, which is rubbish. This is incredible. The rest of the album's so-so, but I've always wanted a decent version of the song Rip It Up and Start Again, because it really is one of those magical moments in UK music of the 80s. And yeah, really pleased to get it. I mean, the rest of the tracks aren't bad, but Rip It Up and Start Again is just incredible, incredible. Next up, and this is my mega buy. This is maybe my greatest ever charity shop buy, and it's been sitting 100 yards away from me for the last 2 weeks, and I still can't believe I've got this. And I don't think you're going to believe I've got this, and I think people are going to call me out as this being bullshit. It's not, I swear. I can't guarantee it is how it looks, but let's go with it. Oxfam Furniture, they've got a couple of hundred records out the back. They had a copy of Yesterday, an OG of a record I've always wanted, Gang of Four Entertainment, maybe the greatest post-punk record, probably the first post-punk record. £9.99 I paid for it. I'm going to have to get the lighter fluid out to get that sticker off. It's kind of jammed on a little bit. I think they marked it down because someone had scribbled on the front. You know where I'm going with this. I think that might be the band's autographs. There's certainly Hugo Burnham on the back. That would appear to be Andy Gill. I mean, in the UK, an autograph, any Gang of Four autographs are worth a lot because they're so iconic in post-punk circles. I can't quite believe that I appear to have an autograph in Gang of Four. I am sceptical, but I do work in fraud as well, in insurance. So I've got my fraud head on and I'm doing all my red flag checks. I can't work out why someone would mock up an autograph Gang of Four record. And if they did, you would probably put the autographs maybe a little bit, I don't know, and you wouldn't put one on the back, would you? And I've gone on the internet and looked at their signatures, and they're kind of close. In a kind of bizarre way, I'd rather it wasn't autographed because I'm never going to sell this. It's one of my favourite records of all time. So I'm never going to sell it. I'd kind of rather have one without the scribble on. But copies of this without the sleeve go for £9 or £10, £15. This is probably a £50, £60, £70 record. Without the autograph. I mean, actually, it's just, I can't believe I've got it. And what a record. The record that kind of invented Fugazi, invented Rage Against the Machine. It's got the incredible, well, it's all incredible. Damaged Goods. I find that essence rare. Ether. Return of the... I mean, it's all just amazing. And I've bought it for £9.99. And it might be autographed. And I've been searching for it in the wild for 40 years. I can't believe this has happened. And look, if anyone thinks this is bullshit, feel free, because I wouldn't believe it either. But it's happened, and I've got it. Unbelievable. I've just thrown it down. 12-inch, and I'm really pleased to get this. I really am. Everyone who watches my videos knows my love of a 12-inch, and if you use a 12-inch properly, you can make it an incredible thing, and this is an incredible thing, in my opinion. Bronski beats Small Town Boy, which is a song I love anyway, but they've chosen to use the 12-inch in a way you should use it. they've made it a 10-minute version, and they've made it a incredibly, almost moving version. The first 4 minutes are just Jimmy Somerville singing with the melody. The drum machine ain't kicked in, and it's really emotional. You know, it's an emotional song anyway. A guy, you know, a homosexual guy living in Glasgow, having to get away, goes to London. It's autobiographical. So the first 4 minutes just play out. It plays out like a movie. It's incredible. I really recommend you go and listen to the 12-inch version of Small Town Boy. And then after about 4 minutes, the drum machine kicks in. That sort of and it's a really fantastic listen, and it really is great. I mean, I got it for a couple of quid. I've been searching for this one for ages. Incredible, love it. Really recommend listening to this on a 12-inch version, because it's almost cinematic, and it's a brilliant song, and it's a really emotional tune as well. And yeah, beautiful. This was again with my Christmas money. This was a bit of a nostalgia buy. I don't normally do things like this. Ride, Nowhere. They were kind of the monkeys of shoegaze, weren't they? Ride, really. They were the Stone Roses with Feedback. It was a band that was kind of invented almost within the confines of the UK music weeklies, The Enemy and Melody Maker. The UK music weeklies have suddenly become incredibly confident because they kind of made the Stone Roses. Where in the past, bands like the Smiths, The Cure, bands like that, you know, Depeche Mode, The Jam, they would have got big without the UK weeklies. But the Stone Roses, I think, wouldn't have. I think they owed a lot, as brilliant as they are. And so the UK weeklies, I think, thought, shit, we can really start making bands big. And Ride is probably the first example of it. They were on Creation. It was the first Creation band, I think, to get top 10 singles. This is a repress. This was £22. I've got it in Viny in Southampton. I hate coloured vinyl, but that's actually quite nice. And it sounds decent as well. I pretty much bought it for the one track, Vapor Trail, which I think is one of the great 90s indie anthems of all time, Vapor Trail. It's just an absolute beaut. But yeah, the rest of it stands up. It's very 1990. It's almost suffocated within its own time capsule in a way. But I know a lot of people on the VC like this, and yeah, I think it's a decent record. And it sounds good. And yeah, that vinyl's nice. And I say on Discogs, these blue ones, they're going for about 30 plus. And as I say, Vinilo had it on for 22, brand new. So yeah, brilliant. So that's all me new buys and recent finds, and one incredible find, which I still can't believe, to be honest. And I'm sure some people are watching this going, this is BS. But as I said, just thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I know I haven't done a video for 5-6 weeks. I looked at my analytics and I'm still getting 50-60 people watch every couple of days. So I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a good year. We'll be back in the new year with the same drivel. And take care, everyone. Cheers.